Good evening, and welcome to the Heikadelic Show. We would like to take this moment to let you know that viewer and listener discretion is strongly advised. So sit back, have yourself a nice cool drink or hot drink, and enjoy the show. And welcome once again to the Heikadelic Show.
All right, guys, get ready to go fishing with Mitchell out on Lake Simcoe. You guys ready? Yeah! And we're out in the middle of the lake fishing with Mitchell. There's little towns of huts out here. Very hard to see, but freaking awesome day. All the lines are in the water, minnows are happy. Come on, let's go. Here, fishy, fishy. Come on, there we go. Woohoo!
So yeah, those Halloween haunt guys are really something, aren't they? I like the video, and they're kind of scary. But I hope to see them again, maybe live next time. But I am going to check out their socials and look them up on Facebook for sure. And I'm going to like them because I like them. See you next time.
Hey, this is Spiffy Vengeance, and I'm reporting for the Heikadelic Show. In behind me, you can see the War of the Worlds going on as we speak. It's amazing. It's a light show. It's over the Pickering Darlington nuke plant, but we're not sure what's going on. We think it's aliens, because if you watch, we've been watching this for almost an hour now, and the light show is incredible. What we thought was just a storm appears to be possibly alien invading the Durham region. This is Stiffy Vengeance, and I am going to try and stay awake and watch the show behind me, and hopefully I won't get probed. See you on the Heikadelic Show Monday night.
Hey,
Good evening.
good evening.
We forgot Derek.
Oh, there he is. There he is.
I thought I was being interviewed. I was going to just wait in the background and
Yeah, just sit in the green room and wait.
Okay.
Derek, the disappearing drummer. There he is.
Yeah.
As if by magic. Hey.
Well, howdy, all us fans and all you boys, and it's great to be back. It's another week of the Heikadelic Show. Woohoo!
Yeah.
woohoo. Oh,
I
hey,
know, eh?
Melanie.
Who?
Melanie.
Melanie. She's first again.
Mel, yeah. Oh, she's on the
Mel's
ball.
the first on deck.
Nice.
Hey, you want to know who's been really slacking lately is Deb. I haven't seen Deb on here for a while.
Uh-oh.
I know, eh? Let me
Yeah,
see.
Deb.
Actually,
Not
I have.
in first place.
Deb has missed the last 3 weeks.
I think Deb
Shoot.
found another show to watch on Monday nights.
Well, she came in
No.
second place
Is that possible?
twice in a row, and after that, she never came back. So maybe she was
Oh.
pissed she couldn't get on first anymore.
It's not something we said, is it? Yeah.
She wanted to win the booby prize.
Well, Melanie takes the lead. And
Yes,
then, of
she
course-
does.
Yeah. So.
Hey, nice haircut there, Bonzo.
Like that?
Yeah, that's pretty spiffy.
So what are you going for, Derek? Is
I
that-
used to wear jeans. Now I wear
Oh.
Italian slacks. Had long,
Nice.
shaggy hair. Now
Is
it's
that
got
like a
short,
stray
slick
cat
back.
thing? No.
I gotta love it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
right,
I
so-
just I COVID hair, right? I hadn't cut my hair since COVID. And,
Yeah, but you got the post-apocalyptic '50s look.
well, I do and I don't because like I still have it long, right? Like it's still long. I just have it greased back now because it's easy to maintain that way.
Actually,
Yeah.
I used to cut my hair exactly like that. And then I got
Did
old.
you?
Yeah.
Did you kind of look like me too?
No, clearly better. But the
there we go.
Ouch.
George,
Hey.
how you doing, buddy?
I'm very well. Thank you very much. Nice to be back. Hopefully the power will stay on this week.
Yeah.
That's
You had
right.
some glitches there last week, eh?
Well, we saw
yeah.
Spiffy Vengeance there, so I'm pretty sure he's taking
Yeah.
care of all the aliens.
Gotta
I was
introduce
going to say, whatever happened to Stiffy Vengeance? She was scared of getting probed that day. We haven't heard from her since.
No,
Uh-oh.
I mean,
I don't know.
no,
Is it
she's
okay?
still there.
Heiko keeps on saying it's Stiffy Vengeance. I think it's Spiffy, is it not?
It's Spiffy, yeah.
It's Spiffy, yeah.
Oh,
Spiffy as in
See, it's funny because when she first starts talking, it sounds like Spiffy, and I wrote that down. And then at the end, when she says Stiffy, I thought, what the hell? What is it now?
And I thought it was a guy too. I don't know.
Well,
Definitely not a guy.
definitely some probing going on there.
Yeah, I mean, that was that. Gosh, when did that happen? It was pre-COVID, and there was this massive electrical storm in it.
Yeah.
It was the freakiest thing ever. And we were all out in the backyard, or was it during COVID? I don't know.
That's a while ago, though. That's why I'm wondering, like, did she ever get probed, or
No.
is she still alive and kicking? Like, what's going on?
No, she's fine. But
We
I
should
think,
get her on again.
yeah, for sure. We'll see if she can do
She,
it.
she could give us an update.
She can give us an update.
Yeah.
Tell us how the probing was.
Send her over to Darlington.
Yeah. So, George, listen, let's get off to it right now.
Let's
What
do
do you
it. I think that's a jolly spiffing idea.
Everybody grab your drinks. Cheers.
Right.
Ah,
Hey.
that's awesome. Thanks, George. You're the best.
That's my pleasure.
Oh,
So
The
I
least
went
I
to
can
the-
do.
So,
Went to
if our fans want to have another drink with us, send us in a little message and tell George to play Tra La La.
That's right.
And we'll have another drink with you.
That's right.
yeah.
It's a
We'll cheers
tra-la-la.
every time you say tra la la. We'll cheers you.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right,
We'll all have a
Kathy.
drink. Let's see how
Kathy
drunk
likes your hair.
Ringo tonight.
It's shrunk in the wash.
Ringo, get the Jaeger out. We're gonna see how many shots you can do tonight.
Not tonight.
Oh.
I went to the
Hey.
fracture clinic today, and I've got another 2 weeks of having this cast on. So,
You ever tried this one? Jaeger cold brew.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
Look at that, Jägermeister. And it's got a coffee flavor to it.
oh, wow.
Well,
Yeah,
who would want
mine's
that?
always
That's fucking
cold.
disgusting.
I keep mine in the freezer.
Yeah.
Well, Jaeger, yeah, that's like Jaeger on the rocks.
Look
Is
at
like the only other way to drink it besides straight.
You know, I drink it out of a skull glass. You see that?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
see
yeah.
that.
That's it's so cool.
It's like
And that's the problem with
Yeah.
society now. Not enough people drink out of the skulls of their enemy.
I know.
Oh dear.
Actually, I've never thought of that. That sounds great.
Well, you want to know
Yeah.
something? I bet you that would stop some politicians from lining the pockets of people if you started doing a couple of shots of Zambuca out of their, eyeball.
Out of their skulls. Yeah. Absolutely. That's an old Viking thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, is it?
Yep.
Yeah.
It won't get very full, or would it? Or would it? With the eye,
Well,
eye socket.
There's a lot of holes in the skull. That's the problem, right? You got to kind of fiberglass some of those holes shut so you can hold a decent amount.
Okay. Maybe that's why it stopped. I don't know. Maybe that's the
I
reason.
guess you're gonna have like your biggest hole is gonna be your spine where it goes in, right? Where it snaps
Yeah.
when you're like Dale Earnhardt or something.
Yeah.
So tonight we have Rudy Blair back, and that's going to be exciting. We've been wanting that for a while. And
Yeah.
It's fully recovered from the last time now, right?
yeah, apparently, yeah.
Well, either that or he's still so traumatized that
Yeah, he
we
wasn't
got him
sure.
before he can figure it out.
Wasn't
Yeah.
sure what our show was all about, so he thought he'd give it another try and see if he could figure it out the second time.
Yeah.
Rudy's got tons of experience in the entertainment, radio, television business.
Yes.
30 years reporting. He's been an MC and a host. He was also with 680 News Toronto. for I think 23 years. But he's pretty much our hard line to celebrities. I mean, he covers the Grammys, the Junos, Much Music, the Film Screen Awards, as well as reporting out to news like City News and all that stuff. So pretty amazing. It was so cool to have him here. The last time he gave us some feedback, which was very positive, and so now we kind of, when we select guests and we make some decisions on the show and stuff like that, we always kind of use Rudy as a bit of a jump point, because the guy's just so experienced and professional. So it was great for us. So we're excited to have him on. He'll probably be coming on in a few minutes. He just popped into the green room.
Well, we still gotta do George's backside stuff first.
We'll have a look at George's backside.
We'll do that now. We're a bit late to give Rudy a crack at it.
Yeah, we got to give Rudy a crack at it.
Yeah, so sure. Rudy, I can see you in the green room. Pay attention to this backside. You might get the answer.
All right. So okay. All right. We'll show it.
Let's throw it up.
Hang on.
We'll give the fans and Rudy a chance to have a look at it, and then we'll bring it up again. Oh, we just saw the front.
Did we?
Yeah. Did you
see the front again?
The front is a dude with dark glasses on and a guitar in his hand.
Yeah. Oh, is that like Buddy Holly?
There you go.
Oh, I think I might know who that is. I think this is an 80s guy, right?
Maybe. I don't know.
It's a solo artist, the 80s guy. He's mainly 80s, a little bit into the 90s, but
yeah.
All right. Well,
his guitar must be cold. He put a shirt on his guitar. So,
hey, can I ask one question? Has he changed his name like 2 or 3 times, but it's the same name, just things left out?
Not that I'm aware of. No.
Okay. Then not who I'm thinking of. Then.
All right.
Good try though, bud.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Dark glasses. Okay.
Dark glasses and the guitar. There's a clue straight away.
Yeah. We know who it is.
Or is it? I don't know.
So, without further ado, I'm going to bring Rudy in here because we've been waiting, anticipating his visit for
yes, we have
time to talk about.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Let me grab him.
What's he saying?
We're all like little kids going, "Yay, he's coming back on our show."
Rudy's back in town.
Welcome, Mr. Rudy Blair.
How you guys doing, man?
Oh, great.
All right.
Let me guess. You didn't think I was gonna show up, did you?
No.
Yeah.
We were having bets, eh?
Yeah.
No, I thought you might be a little late because I sent the email link, but we've been excited.
Nah, he's prepared, man. He's on time. He's in the green room, ready to rock.
And here's the one thing, George.
Yeah.
I wore my KC shirt for you.
Oh, cool. I almost thought about doing that, actually. I almost thought, I was going through the drawer there today. I thought,
KC in the sunshine.
Nice job, buddy.
Awesome.
That shirt looks in really good shape too. Have you had that shirt a long time?
This is an Amazon one. Honestly, the original shirt that I had, I was in like grade 5. So that's just like it.
Then. Right.
So,
wow.
So for the guests who don't know, last time Rudy was on, George was wearing a Casey in the Sunshine Band shirt. So that's where that comes from. Now everybody's up to speed.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Casey.
The Sunshine Band.
So, and for the people out there that, for some reason, I don't know why, if they don't know who Rudy Blair is, tell us a bit about yourself there, pal.
Oh, man, I hate talking about myself, to be honest.
Come on.
You know what? It's weird when you're on the other side of the microphone.
Yeah. Right.
Because, I've been in broadcasting for over 3 decades. And I've interviewed probably now, I'd say maybe 10,000 different artists or celebrities or whoever in that time. And I've been lucky. I've been blessed. That I've been able to talk to some of the biggest acts ever, from Sting to Lionel Richie to Barry White to, KC, Beyonce, Jay-Z. There we go. We got the KC bug going. And been able to be on some of the biggest red carpets, from the Grammys to the Junos. Again, I've been blessed. I've been lucky enough to host, MC, do a lot of different things, be a music reporter, have my own website, Rudy Blair Entertainment Media, RudyBlairMedia.com. Again, being in broadcasting for years over with Rogers 680 News and City TV. So it's been a blessing and a fun time, because honestly, if you told that little kid Rudy when he was 7 or 8 years old, when he was watching the Grammys with his brothers and sisters and trying to figure out who was going to win, and said you were going to be actually backstage at music's biggest award in the world, I would have been like, yeah, right, where's my G.I. Joe?
Yeah.
So that's why I say it's a blessing.
Do you get nervous before an interview, or have you done so many now you don't even think about it?
No, do you know what? Honestly, I think I told you guys the story. I've only been nervous maybe once or twice. And one of those was, of course, Sting. And that was because at the time he had released an album and a book. And I was told ahead of time, if he doesn't like your interview, he'll say, "Are we done yet?"
Oh.
And so I was researching like crazy. And I don't write down questions, but I did on this one. I've probably, in my 30 years, I've written down questions maybe 5 or 6 times. And I wrote down questions. But when I sat in front of them, I literally threw it away. And I just went right to the spiel. Okay, I know this is supposed to be about this and that. And we had a great conversation. And I didn't get, "Are we done yet?" And what was really cool was he signed a bunch of my books and CDs that I had at the time and took a picture. So, yeah, nice. I don't get nervous, but there's always, you never know. There always could be that one where you're kind of like, I don't want to screw this one up.
I know, like when they come on the Heikadelic show, right?
Yeah. So much
exactly.
When you're at award shows, and you're doing multiple people, do you find like are there a lot of them that are pre-recorded? So like hey, they're gonna be doing their act at this time. Like
no,
it's live.
No, let me put you this way. Here's what red carpets are like for me, okay? Because when you got the TV stuff, there's a little bit more room for them, and depending, of course, where the award is. So, say if the award is at for CTV, so all the CTV stuff or under that banner is going to be closer to the front, and they're going to have lots of room. I'm usually in the area where literally a piece of paper, the size of a piece of paper, is the room that I have. And I will have a camera and my microphone, and I have learned how to be very tight squeezed to do my interviews. Now, thank God, when it comes, especially with the music stuff, 9 times out of 10, I know who the artists are. So they know me, I know them, so I know exactly what we're going to talk about. If it's, say, like the Canadian Screen Awards, and I don't know that much about the actors, but I've already sort of reminisced some of the things. And yeah, I tend to know some of the people, but I think because I've been doing this for such a long time, I kind of go into stealth mode, and I know exactly what I want to say, what I want to do, what I want to get into, so that my questions are for them to feed me the information so that I know what to ask next. A lot of mistakes people make is they write down the questions, the person is asking, and then they're too busy looking at their next question to hear what they're saying. I don't look at somebody's face. I look at their mouth, and I concentrate on what they are saying so that as they're speaking, I've already reminisced 2 or 3 different other questions that I want to ask, that I want to jump on it. And it's worked. It's worked really well.
Awesome. Is that, you find a lot of people do that, or is that kind of like Rudy's technique?
That's old school. That's my technique, because I mean, these days, you can just open up your phone and you can figure out all the info you need.
Yeah.
Us guys, the four of us, we go back to looking at Billboard magazines and entertainment magazines and newspapers and whatever else to get our information. And that's why one of the things that frustrates me about some of the young cats who are out there doing this, because they've got their information, on a phone. So easy that they can get it. And when I hear them ask certain questions, it frustrates me because I'm just like, okay, you've just kind of made this. I know you've made this person pissed off, angry, or annoyed, and now I got to change their mood with what I'm going to ask so that I can get a good interview. And those interviews may only last like 90 seconds because they got to move on to the next person and the next person. And as a reporter on the red carpet, you want to be fair. And some people think that they're doing a full 10-minute interview, which is not fair. I tend to try to, on red carpets, do maybe 2 minutes, get what I need, and then let them get to the next person.
So, Rudy, that's a good point about the not fair and dominating the red carpet. We can talk about Lucas Rossi shortly because I have a story about that. I mean, like, we're finding that, and some guests have actually said, hey, you know what? Thanks for researching, because we'll pull out these little nuggets, and it's like, how did you find that? Or, you spent time. So it's a respect thing, right? And I get what you're saying. I have 4 pages of notes, but I don't I read. If I have a bit of a brain fart or get squirreled, I'll kind of glance at it. But you've got so much content that it was kind of cool going through. You've obviously got this way about you that people will start to tell you their deepest and darkest, hey, just between us, Rudy, this is what happened, right?
Yeah.
So you've got, your interviews are very, very well done. So, but yeah, I went through a few of them. I was really intrigued by, Derek and I actually looked at the Fifi Dobson one, but the JD Fortune, I've always been on a little bit of a quest to understand that story. I mean, what really happened there? Was it just his personal demons and stuff like that, or did he?
Yeah, no, it was personal demons. It was, let's put it this way. Everybody now understands more and more about the words mental health issues.
Yeah.
Well, back then, we didn't talk about that. You were either crazy, stupid, or whatever else. Yeah. People did not look at it as a disease or a problem. They were just made fun of. And of course, when they're being made fun of, they sink deeper and deeper into that rabbit hole. JD was sort of like the same thing. JD, from the first time I met JD, he and I clicked.
Yeah,
completely.
You said
we understood each other immediately. So I was never one to judge him. In fact, it's very rarely do I judge any celebrities because I kind of understand what they go through. It's like when somebody meets a celebrity and say they're like, oh, can I get a picture and autograph? And they go, no. And they're like, oh, you're an asshole, blah, blah, blah. Well, you don't know what that celebrity's been through that day. You don't know what's going on in their lives. You don't know, if they've got their kids, they don't want their kids being bothered. It's their time, Mm-hmm. And JD was sort of like the same thing. You just got to remember, here's a guy who was literally living off the street, goes in and tries out for this amazing show, Rockstar NXS, to be the lead singer of one of the most iconic bands of all time, whose lead singer committed suicide. Yeah. It's a crazy story. And he did it. And
did it well.
And he did it extremely well. But the thing is, though, when you get to that level, nobody knows how you're going to act or react or what's going to happen around you. And there are so many different things that people don't know that he had to deal with. They all just look at it as, oh, he had a big ego and he thought it was, but no, that wasn't it at all. He was dealing with his own demons and his mental health issues and things like that. And people weren't understanding to that.
What burned me about that was the fact that, he contributed to a really strong comeback for INXS because, he wrote
Pretty in Vegas. Was Pretty in
Vegas, wasn't it?
Pretty Vegas.
Yeah. And then they just kind of abandon him. So I mean, like he contributed, he had the presence and the voice and everything else.
That's like anything too, though. If it's addiction, you're gonna abandon. You have to leave them. You have to the band has to leave it.
But here's the thing that a lot of people don't look at this too. JD's dealing with he's dealing with. Now you have an iconic band who has a new lead singer who is doing a great job, but they miss their friend who died tragically. Yeah. So they're going through their own demons.
They're chasing ghosts. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So of course there can be, you're either going to accept what is happening or you're going to reject it. And it seemed like they were rejecting what was given to them.
Right.
So it was on completely different platforms and what's going on. As I've always said, just because you hear about these stories, you don't know what the inside story is. And that's why the interview, and I'm glad you had a chance to watch it, I'm probably one of the very few people that JD would ever speak with, because JD knows I'm not going to try to twist it. I'm not going to try to come up with some secret thing. But JD, no. And this goes with any artist I speak with. Let them tell their story. I always say this. You have the artist or celebrity. Yep. You have the fan. And then you have me, the middleman. That's all I am. I'm just I'm hopefully asking the questions that the fans want to the artist.
Yep.
And then the artists get the answer. And I pass it back to the fans. That's it.
Yeah, facilitating it. So while we're on the topic of, rock star, supernova, and all of that, so you did an interview with Lucas Rossi, and again, a great interview.
Love Lucas.
I guess his guitar player isn't a fan of ducks, but so I had my own little experience with Lucas because I actually opened for him. We were my band Motor City Maniacs. We were direct support for him one time.
Oh wow!
And it was so.
Man, shut up.
He's an amazing. Was that Ringo? Shut up. No.
Sorry. I thought I hit mute. Did I hit mute?
You guys are going to get me to drink, I swear to God.
One of those stupid things that you've ever done, I'm going to say. Well, this one time when Rudy was on, I told my dog to shut up, and I thought I hit mute, and I didn't. So
the old hot mic, yeah.
So Lucas, when he did that Adele cover, this was after that, and I thought that was so brilliant, and I've always seen him as a very talented, since Rockstar or Supernova and all of that, he was playing with Tommy Lee and a bunch of celebs. But so I was listening to him on your cast, and he was talking a little bit about, I guess, some of the dynamics, rehearsals, things like that. And he showed the song list, right? About how, we write it down, but we don't really play anything on the list, or there's these last minute changes. Well, it was funny because we were there during the day to do sound check. And of course the headliner does sound check first. And it went on for probably, I don't know, 2.5, maybe 3 hours sound check. Right. And,
wow.
I'm like, we have to do ours and get out. So finally my band says, we got other things to do. So they left, and the sound guy, Nate, we've used him a bunch of times, and we've played that venue before. So he basically said, listen, I got the Maniacs on a, program. So we're good, so the guitar player actually said, hey man, I apologize, but this is our opportunity to jam. And I said, well, actually, no, go rehearse in your garage next time. Right. So I guess Lucas heard me say that or something to that effect. And he was signing autographs and doing the T-shirt thing, and totally snubbed me, right? But I understand. I probably should have kept my mouth shut. But I think you were talking about sharing space, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I remember when. But no, what a talented musician, right? And pretty amazing. So
he's very much a free spirit.
Oh, very much. Yeah.
And that was, again, it's so funny. He and I connected completely. One of the things that that really helped was when Rockstar NXS and Rockstar Supernova were both on. When I was with 680 News, I was actually doing interviews with them every week.
Right.
So in the first one, Rockstar NXS, remember we had 3 Canadians that were on. And I interviewed them all, and it ended up JD being the winner.
Well,
with Rockstar,
isn't Susie Canadian as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
And so when we did Rockstar Supernova, it was just Lucas that was, I do believe, Canadian, because you had some people from Iceland and some other places. And we talked all the time. In fact, I sent him a Canadian flag because he said he wanted one to have to show when he would win. He was going to wear it around his neck, but they wouldn't allow him to do it.
Yeah.
So he gave it to somebody else in the audience to have it over their shoulder after he had won.
Nice.
And we've always stayed in touch. We've always connected, and it's always like we just left off a conversation. And that interview that you saw with him and his guitarist, I didn't even know his guitarist was going to be on.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where literally I had to think on the fly in how I was going to do this interview, how I was going to talk to the both of them, because I already knew where I wanted to go with Lucas, but now he had his guitarist. I can't ignore him. So I had to figure out how to play around with the both of them. It is all about adapting. But
I mean, after that show, I was kind of like a little bit, surprised that because support bands are there really to support the show, right? And I think we had sold 200 or 300 tickets, just our band, right? So it was a great show. But after thinking about it and kind of licking my wounds a bit, I thought, well, you know what? He's so creative. And I've done this too, right? It's like this last minute scramble, and we plan to do this, but we're going to do this because it's cool, right? And he's all about cool, right?
Let's put it this way. I call artists like that, they're geniuses. They're mad scientists. Huxley Workman, he's another guy who's exactly like that. Okay. Mad scientist, genius. So when he's performing, you don't mess around. It's almost like just let him do what he wants to do. Chaos, another artist, genius. Again, somebody who I get along great with. But it's the same thing. You just let them be who they are, because if you try to say, well, we're going to do this way and that way, they can't handle it. It's literally like, you can't control what I'm going to do. And it's funny because artists like that, they make great songs, but then at the same time, they don't want to release it to people because it's their babies and they want to keep it for themselves. So sometimes it's a little frustrating for them when other people have their songs. It's a weird dynamic, but I've learned to just sort of go along with the flow.
Right.
So I'm going to come back to some of that, but I'll let the other guys,
you going to let us talk?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, as Rigo brought up before with Fifi Dobson, you've been interviewing Fifi since she was 18 years old.
Yeah.
Right. She's now living in Nashville, married. Do you ever feel like Fifi Dobson's kind of like a cousin? No, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like someone you only see once in a while, weddings, blah 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 type of thing, and you watch them grow up afar. You know what I mean?
Let's put this. There are a lot of artists. Like Avril Lavigne is another one. Fifi is another one too, like that. I feel almost like a big brother or a dad. So when they say that they're either dating somebody or married, I will actually say off mic, you let them know they treat you, they disrespect you. I will kick the what out of them. I have no problem doing that because I have watched them and I know their stories. Like Fifi used to be bullied when she was young. We talked about that in the interview. And I remember that very first interview we did, and she talked about that because it was part of her songs. I said off mic, if you want to get into the car right now, we can drive down to the school and look for whoever. Because it pissed me off that much because the pain does help an artist create their music, but at the same time, who the hell should be going through that pain anyways? Who should be bullied that way? And then I always find it funny too in how those bullies try to be friends with them after they become famous. And we were buddies, and it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, remember me?
yeah, exactly. But no, I tend to. It's not so much as an uncle, but it's more either like a dad, a second dad, or a big brother, because I'm very protective of those that I've interviewed for years and watched them grow up and watched what they've been able to accomplish and things like that too. So it's again, I say this, honestly, it's a blessing to be able to follow that journey and to see what Fifi has done, because God, she is so damn good, and just to know that she's going to be doing more. And, she was talking about, after we did the interview, the very next day, she's flying to Paris, and you want to go back in time and say to that young Fifi who was being bullied, don't worry about it. You're gonna see the world. You're gonna see it through the eyes that you want to see it through, and that I'm very happy for her and for all of them. that
is what Just Desserts, right? That's awesome. Yeah, good for her. Well, and good for you for doing that, sticking up like that. It's gotta,
I hate bullies.
Something about your character saying, "Hey, let's go back."
Well,
and kick
Rudy. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No,
Ringo,
but
go ahead.
I get infuriated by bullies, and I've done some things to take out a few of them in my time. But I don't want to go all political or anything. But this war that's going on, I broke my shoulder about 3 weeks ago. I fell on the ice. I've never, ever done this. Okay. Complete fracture. In fact, I was at the clinic today. It sheared right at my shoulder bone.
I feel for you, brother.
Very, very painful. But then the Russia-Ukraine war happened. And I was telling some people around me, I mean, had my shoulder been better, I would have been on a plane out there. I can, win, lose, or draw. I would have, I love what they've done. I mean, the Ukraine had its issues, but the president changed it around. I mean, and now just this thing is just criminal. But yeah, that's the biggest bully on the planet right now, and he needs to be dealt with. But
I agree.
That's about all I'm going to say on that. But that's how
I agree. No, it's funny because it's like, I think we talked about this before. One of the biggest bullies that I've seen, and I'll say his name, Gene Simmons. And I've seen Gene Simmons bully people, and for him and I probably interviewed him, I think, at least 5 or 6 times, and I would say 4 of those were good, 2 of them were not. And one of them, literally, because of something that he did bullying somebody, I told his people, if he even opens his mouth to me the wrong way, I'll leave the microphone open. I'll kick the crap out of him.
Yep.
And he was the nicest person to me when we did the interview, because I don't like bullies. I don't like bullies in the industry. I don't like bullies out on the street. I don't like bullies, period. I understand when, again, what I was saying earlier, if an artist is not maybe pleasant to somebody when they first meet them because you don't know what they're going on.
Yeah.
But if you're just an outright asshole, then you deserve to be kicked out.
There's no need for that.
No, not at all.
It accomplishes nothing.
No, it doesn't. But sometimes people are mistaken as maybe bullies because they've got the bitchy resting face and all of that, and they just feel like unapproachable. Which brings me to another interview you did, and I don't mean like Peter Jackson, right? So I've met Peter a few times, and he's an interesting guy, homegrown, and I remember I met him the first time, I think, at the music hall, but it was on an off day, and I was in there with the owner, and we were just chatting. So Pete walks in, and like his classic Pete move, he pulls out that cigar. I'll call it a cigar, but it was hilarious. One night, like he's done really well, and he's so I was at a venue and upstairs in this sort of whatever, just this overlooking the stage and stuff. But the place was packed. And then all of a sudden, and I had just met him that one time and we chatted a bit. He had a posse there that night, right? Like a whole bunch of his buddies. And I was standing there with some friends, and so one of them says, "Hey man, you know who that is? That's Peter Jackson." I'm like, yeah, it is actually. So Peter walks right across the room, and I'm looking around thinking, where's he going, right? He came right up to me and he goes, "Hey Ringo, how's it going, buddy?" And he gives me the old, whatever, much love thing. And then his posse kind of drifts off. And my buddies are looking at me and they're like, what the fuck? They couldn't believe it. But, that's a guy I think that really worked on his self-promotion. The fact, like he mentioned on your interview, he's never had a day job, right? It's what he does. And kudos to him and anybody who works that hard and commits themselves to making a living, right? So
it's hustle. It's hustle, and that's what he did.
It is.
I mean, you may have heard in that interview, we kind of mentioned a little bit about how when I was at 680 News, his mother sent me his CD, hoping that I was going to do an interview on it, and I couldn't because I only had a certain balance I could do with young emerging artists to the established artists, and my radio station wanted more established artists. Right. But as years went on, we got in contact again. We were able to do a couple of more interviews. And I give him full credit because you have to remember, he's a dad, he's married, he's taking care of his family, he's taking care of his family's future. He is a hustler.
Yeah.
And when you don't have a day job, you know that every minute that happens, you got to make the dollar.
Yep.
Because you got to pay for it. You don't have insurance. You don't have this or that.
No.
You pay for everything. So I give him full kudos. And that look on his face, it's always because he's thinking. He's watching.
He's a nice guy. He's a great
guy. But when he's got that intense look on his face, it's because he's studying where he is. He's listening to what's happening. And he's trying to figure out, okay, whatever is happening right now, how can it work for me? So kudos. And if you get him in a corner or something like that, nicest brother you're ever going to talk to.
Yeah, he's been fine with me. And my friends were really impressed. And I just, it was kind of a surprise that they all walked up like that. But very cool. And again, Canadian artist. And what you guys talked about, I like the question you asked about the Super Bowl, right? The thoughts around the whole hip hop vibe. And I don't care what anybody says. I thought it was awesome. I guess the only issue I had was it Mary J. Blige on? Yeah.
Yes.
I would have done a different wardrobe. But other than that, they were awesome. They were really incredible.
Here's the thing that, because I don't know if you saw on my Facebook, but as soon as the performance was over, I jumped on Facebook and I saw people writing some real nasty things.
Yeah.
So I wrote what I felt and thought.
Yep.
And, I said it was a great thing for the culture of music to have something like this happen.
Absolutely.
And I'm not going to give the person's name, but I'm just going to say he was a former sportscaster. And I'll just say that, who was white. And I'm going to say white because usually, like, you guys are Caucasian. When I say white, I talk about the mentality of white, which is on a negative thing. And he went on and on and on about hating this and hating that and them using the N-word and this and that. Like, it was ridiculous, and how he grew up listening to people like Aretha Franklin who would turn over in her grave. And I'm sitting like, who the hell is this clown talking about something that he doesn't understand at all? And then, of course, his white cronies are all jumping in going, yeah, this was ridiculous. This is them talking about shooting people and things like that. And I'm just like, oh, my God. Thank God there were other people black, Caucasian, whatever, who were jumping in going, I don't know what the hell you're talking about, but this was a great performance. And you don't have any sense in what you're talking about. And then he starts talking about how he spoke to somebody who is black, and they say that this was horrible and everything else. I'm going, oh
yeah,
God.
No, it's honestly it's bullshit, and I'm it's just embarrassing to hear because it's ignorance. It's totally
completely.
Ignorant. Like I saw a video on YouTube with Morgan Freeman in it, and it was amazing to me because he hit the nail on the head. Like they were talking about racism and stuff like that, and he says, listen, you want it to stop? Just stop talking about it, right? Because, but I'm a big believer in you need to, like, I call it the snowflake generation. We're trying to erase this group, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
We're trying to erase it to the point where if you erase it, it will repeat itself. So, you know what? All of the, whether it's racism, whether it's whatever challenges that we've had on this planet, we've managed to persevere most, but some of them linger because of stupid ideals and idiots like that I just think are absolutely ignorant, right? I say that no, I don't want to insult my hometown, but I grew up north, right? I met my first black friend in high school, like late in high school. It was all mining up there. I mean, they were, to my knowledge, probably the first black family to move up there. And my dad actually, him and oh gosh, I'm trying to think of the dad's name, but they hit it off, right? But it was just stupid shit, right? Like, they used to carpool to the mines, and my dad being told, you know what, if you're gonna hang out with this guy, you can't be part of our carpool. So my dad's like, well, fuck you then, and so he always, I think racism is definitely learned because we're all equal at some level, at all levels. But I mean, you're not. I don't believe you're born with it. I believe it's somehow inherited through.
Yeah, it's taught. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And but you know what? Back to the topic of the Super Bowl. I thought it was awesome. Definitely a breakthrough in terms of doing something that's been long overdue, right?
I thought the Super Bowl was awesome because it was bringing back the stuff I've listened to over the last 20 years, right? I got to see 50 Cent. People were like, 50 Cent hanging upside down. I'm like, dude, the guy's 50 years old and he's hanging upside down, right?
Yeah.
He's gained weight.
You heard the comments they made about him. They said, 50 Cent looks like he's $1 now. It's like,
Yeah. No, also speaking about going back into my past, I want to give a shout out to Scott Hall. Some people know him as the bad guy.
As Razor Raymond.
Razor Raymond, yeah.
See, and that's funny you say that because that was my question I was going to have. I was just going to mention, is there anybody ever out there that you were kind of looking at interviewing and stuff and they wound up passing on you and you missed the chance? And then this happened, and I was kind of going to say, did you ever have a chance to interview him?
Never had a chance to interview him or meet him. Scott Hall. I mean, Kevin Nash, I did.
Oh, okay.
I've interviewed him a couple of times. No, but going back to your original question, Tito Fuente.
Really?
I wanted to interview him badly every time he was performing in Toronto. And the show that he did in Toronto, the last show he did in Toronto, I tried to get something set up, didn't happen. I think it was a month or so later he passed away. And that one sticks into my gut because he's so damn, the drums and the whole Latin field and oh man, just a great performer. But no, he's the one that always sticks out in my head the most that I wished that I could have had a chance to speak with. But again, I've been lucky. I've been able to speak to a lot of people. Scott Hall, I would love to have a sit down and chat with him. A lot of people don't really realize how smart he was in wrestling. Like, for example, people know about the wrestler Sting, and how when Sting first came out, he had the blonde hair and, you know, the face, the, you know, paint and everything. And then he went into this crow kind of look. And it was Scott Hall that said to him that he should do that.
Yeah.
Scott Hall made a lot of suggestions to a lot of wrestlers, like Buff Bagwell. Before it was Marcus Alexander Bagwell. He was the one going, hey, you should call yourself Buff, you know, because you're a buff. And the name stuck with him. He had a great wrestling mind. If it wasn't for the tragedies that he had to go through, which was one of them was, and I, you know, somebody could correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I do believe, like, even before he got into wrestling, he accidentally killed a guy. And I do believe it was in a fight. He just hit him, you know, hard enough that he killed him. And to me, that's where it all started from. And anybody who knows what wrestlers go through, from the pounding on the mats, hitting the pavements, hitting those cable ropes, the traveling that you have to do constantly, the lack of sleep that you get, the popping of the pills. How guys come out normal of that business, I will never understand how they do it. It is probably one of the toughest jobs. People can say, like, football players and you know, baseball players and track and field or whatever. Try wrestling what they do for an hour or even 10 minutes or 15. You'd have a heart attack. So. And then when you're carrying that weight, because he was usually around 265. I mean, you see him in his younger pictures, he was up to 305 and he was pumped. What that does to the body, the lungs, the heart, the liver, and things like that, you know, God bless him that he was able to turn his life around before he passed away because of Diamond Dallas Page, DDP yoga. And, you know, he did best, you know. And it was funny because I was reading what Kevin Nash said, that he hopes that that the good Lord was going to allow him not just to be in heaven, but to give him one of those golden toothpicks. And if anybody deserves it, it's Scott Hall. What do you want to call him? Razor Ramon, the bad guy? Or to me, he's Scott Hall. He was an innovator, you know, and, you know, he turned his life around, and he deserves to go through the pearly gates.
A lot of these guys are, you know, some of the nicest, gentle people, you know, gentle giants. You know, some of them I'm sure aren't like that, but you know, I remember having beers at the Colson Hotel with Abdullah the Butcher. So I don't know if you remember.
Oh, lucky you, man. Love Abby. Big Abby. Love Abby.
Well, what a great guy. I mean, anyway, I'll leave that story.
No, but here's the thing. But you know what the sad thing is, though? Because when I was growing up and I was watching wrestling, I knew kind of like in the back of my head that this wasn't real, but when you saw certain things that was happening, you were like, oh, this couldn't be fake. You couldn't fake that, whatever else. And back then, guys like Abdullah the Butcher, you know, you really thought was nuts, and he was from, you know, Sudan and whatever else. And then you realize he's from Ontario and he's Canadian and he speaks perfect English and he's got a chicken joint down the road. I hated knowing that information because
the background,
it ruined things. It's like now when I see wrestlers posting pictures of their wives and kids and everything, it's like, no, you're supposed to be biting chunks out of this guy's head and making him bleed, and you know, it takes away from that stuff. So when certain wrestlers can post their real life but still put on a good show and make it believable, I give them props. And right now, to me, the number one guy is CM Punk. I love what he's doing in AEW.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Nice.
No, that's, and you know what? I still watch once in a while, and you're right. Like, I mean, when I was growing up, my grandfather made me and my cousin Dave sit in the living room floor and watch wrestling every Saturday. And then he'd say, okay, try these moves out. So we got to play out the wrestling. But yeah, it was so much fun, and I believed it. And then when I got older, it's sort of like Santa Claus, right? I mean, Yeah, in my heart somewhere, I still think that fat bastard's going to try and make it down my chimney, right? But yeah, it's but like compared to say MMA, which is entirely different and is blood and guts. You know, I don't. Well, I'm not gonna. I'll watch a good MMA fight, but it's like the reaction's different, right?
Yes.
It's like when the guy gets hit and he's bleeding everywhere, that's real blood. Whereas it was all about the show with wrestling, right? So yeah.
Well, it's funny you say that too with the kids, because I remember a buddy of mine, he had 3 boys, and this family was wrestling nuts.
Yeah.
So you go over there to visit, and right away the boys want to wrestle with you, right? So okay, get me a beer, and you're in the living room, and you're just throwing these kids all over the place, right? They're climbing on you and stuff. And I still remember the 2 boys had me down on the floor. I'm wrestling with them on my back, right? And I'm wrestling with them, and I just happened to look up over my head. There's the youngest one
with a chair
standing on the top of the couch and leaps off and tucks up his knees, and he's going to smash his knees into my skull, right? So I just do the head fake like this, and he lands on the floor right there, and he hurt himself. But I thought, Christ, I would have looked totally different today if that kid would have made contact with me. But man, that was all about, man, just the wrestling, the moves.
Might have been an improvement.
And like you said earlier, yeah,
Derek,
you're 265 pounds. Yeah. You're wrestling. You're running around. You got to be quick. You got to do all these moves. And then I always said, you're also picking up another guy who's 265 pounds up over your head and doing a move and throwing him down on the mat. It's like, yeah, you're right. 5-10 minutes in the ring. Any football player, I guarantee couldn't make it that long, because those guys are athletes.
Well,
right?
Football players, what, 3 to 5 years is their lifespan? Wrestling's minimum of 10.
Yeah,
10 to make a name.
Yeah.
It's funny because when I was growing up, I mean, the 2 things I loved was music and wrestling. And when it came to wrestling, I bought all the wrestling magazines. I would buy them every month. Saturday and Sunday, it would be like literally watching. I would watch, Calgary wrestling in the morning. I would watch Maple Leaf Wrestling, which was on CHCH. I watched Mid-Atlantic Wrestling. I would watch Vancouver Wrestling. Then I would watch Montreal Wrestling, Grand Prix Wrestling.
Wow.
And at night, I would watch the WWF on the U channel. I just love.
Wow, you were hardcore, eh?
I was hardcore, so I knew when guys would go in different areas. So when I started getting to radio and I started interviewing these guys, I could talk to them about, the stories and things like that, and they would always say, "How did you know so much?" It was because I was such a fan. So even to this day, I can do interviews with wrestlers, and I can talk about guys from the past and things like that. And it's almost like they allow me to be in. In fact, Kevin Nash made me an honorary member of the NWO. So I've got that. And Ric Flair made me an honorary member of the 4 Horsemen. So I can say I'm in both of those elite.
You're the 5th Horseman?
I'm the 5th horseman.
That's like being the 5th Beatle, man. Come on.
Oh, that's awesome, buddy.
That way. But yeah, I can hold these fingers up. I'm an honorary member.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Ric Flair, wow. So wrestlers back in the day, I was in like the Jimmy Snuka Superfly Snooker. I like the Flyers, Ricky the Dragon. Who was growing up like in I guess I would have been the 80s era. Who was your favorite back then?
Ernie the Cat Lad was one of my all-time favorites. Ernie played professional football for years, 6'7", tall, strong, black athlete. And he would tape his thumb up and he would jam it into guys' throats. And he was just amazing. Johnny Powers was another guy. who was tough as nails. Harley Race, God, Harley just growled and just kicked the crap out of people. Nick Bockwinkel was another one. Ricky Steamboat. And then as we start going into the eras, Ricky Steamboat. My all-time favorite, of course, would be the Nature Boy Ric Flair. I loved him.
Yeah.
There were just so many. You know, it was funny because I was watching wrestling, and then for a short time I stopped because it got so bad. It was just nobody was going. And then I remember seeing in the newspaper Ricky Steamboat was a Sunshine Boy. And I'm going, who the hell is this? And then I started watching it, and I'm seeing Ric Flair taking Ricky Steamboat's face and rubbing it on the ground and sticking the U.S. title in his face and rubbing his face on that. And Steamboat's got this big mark. And I'm going, what the hell is going on here? And I started watching again. And, yeah, and it's funny because then, you know, I met all these people from the Road Warriors to, you know, Jimmy Garvin, the Rock Express. Like, I can just go on and on that I've been blessed. But my first favorite wrestler was Ernie the Cat Ladd. He was just, especially because you had this black athlete who was just kicking ass, and he wasn't a gimmick. And that was the one thing. He wasn't doing the headbutt. He wasn't dancing or something like that. He was just a guy who came in, kicked ass, and took titles. And that's why I was such a big fan of this.
Nice.
Wow.
Because I remember watching some older fights or matches, and it was more wrestling. Like, I mean, like my dad's type of wrestling, right? Like they were wrestlers who just put on a little bit more, you know what I mean? And then it became the high flying and the DDTs and.
Well, you see, and that's where the problem comes in, because don't get me wrong, today's wrestlers are doing things that the wrestlers back then could never even think of doing. But the wrestlers back then understood the philosophy and the things that they had to do, could do, how they could work with guys. Like when you had a guy who was, 55 years old and he was broken down and he had to wrestle against a younger guy, they understood how the younger guy could still make that 55-year-old broken down guy look amazing. That's the stuff that doesn't happen today. They just want to say, I want to do this move, this move, this move, this move, and this move. But they don't understand the philosophy in telling the story with their bodies and why this person is so threatening and mean and nasty, and while this person is the hero and he's trying to save the organization. They don't do that.
You're right. Yeah, back then you would grab that guy who's on the top rope, and grab him and swing him over your head, and you both go down on the mat. And the idea was to do that right so nobody got hurt.
Well, exactly. I'm just curious about one thing. George, why are you so quiet, man?
I'm listening. I mean, you're throwing me back to wrestling that I watched in England growing up.
I was going to ask you that, man. Like, who? Like, you must have been watching, like, Big Daddy and those kind of guys.
Oh, even before Big Daddy.
Wow.
And Giant Haystacks and all those guys, yeah. I was watching, like, the Mick McManus, Steve Logan, those Kendo Nagasaki, who was the first wrestler I ever saw who used to wear a mask, and the idea was to unmask him after every, but no one ever did it till eventually. But the thing about wrestling in the UK, I mean, it used to be on twice a week when I'm going back to my youth, right? And after, but it would be on a Saturday afternoon and a Wednesday night. And there was actually one of the places that a lot of wrestling happened was near where I lived. But you would get like old ladies, old grannies who would go to watch the wrestling, right? And they would get so upset, and they'd like to come down and start shouting at the edge of the ring and everything, these guys, and throwing the purse at them and all that, if someone was like beating some. Whether that was rigged or not, I don't know, but that kind of thing used to happen.
No, that's not rigged. That's not rigged. I'll tell you something. One thing I do like about hearing some of the stories is that when the wrestlers talk about how dangerous it was, when you watch wrestling now, like the WWE, whatever, you see these big platforms, these guys walk down, and the audience is away. A lot of wrestlers talk about how they would try to walk through an audience and they get stabbed, or somebody fills up a squirt gun with either urine in it or bleach or something and is trying to spray them with it. Like, it was dangerous for those guys.
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
they would have their cars destroyed. They would have, they're threatened. Hussein the Arab, the Iron Sheik, when the whole thing was going on with Iraq and Iran and all this stuff. I mean, his life was in danger every day. Yeah. And the same thing with Sergeant Slaughter. When he turned on America, he talked about how people were coming after him and they wanted to kill him. It's insane how people get so invested in these stories that they literally take it for word. One of the greatest stories is the Junkyard Dog. He was big in New Orleans, and he was wrestling Michael Hayes of the Fabulous Freebirds. And Michael Hayes had blinded him with ink. And Junkyard Dog couldn't see, and he talked about how he couldn't see his newborn baby and things like that. Michael Hayes talked about how his life was in danger. People literally wanted to kill him. In fact, there was a guy in the audience who had a gun ready to shoot him, and the police had to stop him from doing that. Wow. That's how invested. So, George, when you talked about you don't know if it was real or not, no. Those people get invested.
Oh, yeah, I can believe that. I can believe
it's insane in what they want to do to these guys. And the fact that these guys stay in the business.
Well, you always get the crazies, right? But there's one wrestler I remember from back then, and he was from the US, and my mum loved him. He was Ricky somebody, but he used to wear like ballerina, like ballet tights.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I can't think of his name, but it was the black and white era that he wrestled in. I know
he used
exactly
to really infuriate his opponents because he'd smash the crap out of him and then do his little ballerina move. It was like just to rub salt in the wound. I'm trying to, but my mum loved him when he was
I know exactly. I've never watched his full matches, but I've seen documentaries and I've seen him wrestle in it because that was the time of Antonio Rocca and who am I thinking of? The bleach blonde hair, Gorgeous George, and those kind of wrestlers and stuff like that. And he was in that era too, where he used to do the ballet and you hit the wrestler and go back in the corner and
It really taught them in that. It really really just add fuel to the fire. But
you guys remember the Rougeau brothers?
Oh, of course, the Rougeau family.
I have black and white photos from way back because that's back in the 70s, I guess. But signed by these guys, right? So not that they're worth anything now,
it could be.
But my dad used to take me to all those things.
No, you could be because the Rougeau family, especially back in Montreal, they ran Grand Prix Wrestling. They were the big ones, and it wasn't just the two brothers. There was I think two other brothers. I think it was four of them. There's definitely three. I think there was a fourth one. But the dad, he was the mainstay for the longest time. And I still remember we were talking about Abdullah the Butcher. I still remember there was a match where Abdullah the Butcher had attacked him. And he went back into the dressing room. And Abdullah was wrestling somebody else. And Rougeau Sr. is coming out from the back. And his head is all bandaged up. And he's all bloody. And people are trying to stop him. And he's fighting to get into the ring to get Abdullah. Like, that's telling a story.
It is, yeah.
You don't get that kind of stuff anymore.
It was a great show, right? So
Rudy, if you weren't Rudy Blair, like Entertainment, would that have been possibly an alternate career for you? Did you ever fancy going in the ring yourself?
I did once.
Oh, okay.
And I was gonna go. Really? And I was gonna go to Sully's gym in Toronto to train.
Oh, yeah.
But when I talked to Larry Zbyszko, and he actually told me really the things that were going on. And I just said to myself, I don't think I could handle the travel. I don't think I could take the bumps. I don't think because those bumps are hard. They're real. And people don't realize that. They just see these guys bounce off and thinking, they're trained. No, that takes a lot out of you. Bouncing off those ropes. First time you bounce off those ropes, you can't sleep for weeks because your brain is just vibrating. People don't understand what these guys have gone through. But I will say that I did get into the ring once.
Oh, really?
Okay. Yeah.
And that was when it was still Skydome. And it was a deal we made where I was a manager. And it was with, do you guys remember Peter Gross? He's a sportscaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the name. Yeah.
Peter Gross and I were going to manage 2 wrestlers. I got to manage the late Owen Hart, and Peter was going to manage Ken Shamrock.
Oh,
and so it was set up where we would manage. We'd go into the ring. They introduced us. I have it on video, and I keep saying I got to post this one day.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
So I walk down the ring. I'm dressed all in black. I had a long trench coat on, sunglasses. My hair was a lot longer back then. And I'm playing the bad guy, flipping off the audience. I'm in the ring and, whatever. And I'm supposed to get out of the ring. Peter, who's a little short guy, comes out. And people are laughing. And Peter's waving. He gets out. And the rest come in. And we're supposed to just basically sort of play cheerleader and get these guys going. But they allowed us that after the match to go into the ring. Now, Owen lost. So I get in the ring and I'm pissed off and Peter gets in and Peter's kind of, laughing and waving. So I go and hit Peter and Peter goes down and I go to the corner and I'm just like, yeah, look what I did to him. Peter hits me from behind. I lean over. He puts me on his shoulders, flips me over, jumps on top of me, does a quick 1, 2, 3 and runs out of the ring. And everybody's cheering Peter. I'm standing there all pissed off. Finally, I go to the corner. I give the big finger to everybody, and I get out of the ring. That's my whole wrestling career.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah, we want to see that. We want to see
How many
that.
people did you get to do that in front of?
I've got it on video, and I have to. One of these days, I'm going to get it transferred, and I'm going to get it up on.
You know what? You get that transferred, and the next time you come on the Heikadelic show, that's when we're going to first air that right on our show.
I'll do that.
That will be awesome.
You guys will be the first.
We'll put Derek and George in an
exclusive from Rudy Blair live wrestling.
So, Rudy, we're kind of getting up to the hour here, and it's it's kind of sad because I'd like more time with you. But so we're starting this thing where like Derek and I are quite involved with bands and indie bands and all of that. So what we've done is we've kind of put the word out for indie bands to do submissions to us, and we're going to play them and we're going to bring them on in that. So it's kind of exciting, but I wanted to know from your standpoint, what advice would you give to a indie band in terms of whether it be self-promoting them, or finding smaller labels? What like as a red carpet insider, where do you?
First thing that I've learned is understand social media and how it works. Yeah. Social media is a great way to promote yourself. Even if you're not out there performing, it's a great way to keep in contact with your audience. Learn TikTok, learn Instagram, learn, and learn how to do it. And post every day. Every day. Yeah. Post clips of your music, post clips of your performances. Even if you're not performing, do a little acoustic performance and whatever else. But just make sure that you're out there because how many bands are out there in the world? You can be easily forgotten, Yeah. So definitely do that. Get somebody, get a publicity person. So important, and get a good one. Ask questions.
Like an Eric Appler?
Yeah, exactly. Eric is a great guy. And you need to find people like Eric. Because you try doing it on your own, it doesn't help. I mean, I get people who are on their own and they send me stuff going, hey, Rudy, I released this album, blah, blah, blah. I'd love to talk to you, but 9 times out of 10, I don't because I've already got my PR people who I trust and who are saying, hey, Rudy, I've got this artist. Sometimes I haven't even heard the artist, and I've said, okay, let's set up an interview. Because I trust the PR person.
Right.
And don't just get right? Exactly. And don't just get somebody who says, yeah, I'm going to get you this, that, and whatever. No. Ask questions. Get somebody who is good and who is suited for you and what you're doing. Plus, make sure you got a catalog of something. Don't just say, hey, I've got a song. I want somebody to do an interview on me or I want to, perform here. Nobody gives an F.
Right.
You know.
Well, we've reached out. Derek's reached out to Stomp Records, which is a small label. I think they brought on. Is it Andy Queens are signed with them, Derek?
Yeah, Andy Queen. There's a bunch.
There's a list, and these are really good bands. I mean, they're touring. Andy Queens were touring the U.S. and Canada pre-COVID and Europe, in fact. So they're really cutting their teeth. So, but yeah, we kind of hope to spin them and maybe get. Help them position, nothing really bigger than that. But promote them when we can, spin their tunes, and see where that takes them. So okay, that the socials, and I've heard that before. Absolutely, that's a good. What do you think about this notion of bands? Like there's the pay to play model, right? So if you're up as a support band, for instance, right, we would have to sell minimum 25 to 50 tickets to even get on stage, right? If it's a big stage. And I've always felt that's fine. I mean, it's a no-brainer. It kind of ties into promote your band, be on the socials, all of that stuff. But I get into these debates with musicians that figure, and they're no names, right? They figure that, hey, you know what? I can walk out of my basement and the audience will come. And it doesn't work that way. You gotta, when we were talking about Peter Jackson, you gotta hustle, right? You gotta get out there and make it happen.
Yes.
So I'm pretty harsh when, not a bully, but I'm pretty harsh when it comes. Look, if you whine about pay to play and you're not putting the work in, then you probably suck. Because if your music was good enough, you put, or to your point, if you're good enough, you can get some publishing help, or like I know companies like Asher Media. There's a lot of companies that can help promote. But at the end of the day, I don't see, let's say, promoters doing enough promotion, right? I mean, they might promote the headliner, or they'll sell off bands to make their break even on their tour. And when it comes to promoting, it's really all about, like, you can really make your mark if you're direct support or a support band and you're bringing in crowds, right?
But here's the thing. No, 9 times out of 10, nobody really knows who the support band is except their fans.
Yeah.
Headliner is who everybody knows. So I can't blame the promoter for going after just the big band and not, because if he's only got this amount of budget, he's going to go with the big band. He's not going to say anything about the smaller band. And it's up to the smaller band to show that, hey, guess what? Not only are we good, we're actually better than the headliner that you have. And that's what you want to create as the smaller artist. Like, don't take that as a jab or an insult or whatever. Now it's your time to prove why you are actually better than the guys that everybody's actually coming to see. And bands have done that in the past many times, where the headliner are going, God damn, I don't want these guys back here anymore because they're just hitting me up. Or I don't want to play after these guys. That's what you need to do. And one other thing I want to throw out there too, every band should do a cover song.
Yeah.
Do a cover song and you put it up on iTunes or somewhere else there, because when somebody is looking for that favorite cover song and they hear your version, they're going to say, hey, who's this group who did this great song? And then they're going to want to know more about the group. I always say, do a cover song and put it out there.
That's a great idea. Yeah.
Hey, well, Ringo, as you were saying, we're coming up to the end of the hour. Rudy, we do a thing. We look at George's backside. And I don't know if you saw the album.
Why do I want to see George's
the album, the back of an album.
Okay. I saw him turning around, and I'm like, what's going on here, man?
Yeah.
Especially because he's got the glittery lights going on over there. I'm like, I want to sleep. I want nightmares.
The red glasses.
We wouldn't do that to
George,
Rudy.
The women may like it, all right, man? But I'm just letting you know.
Okay. All right. So that's a past career. I don't do that anymore.
Past career.
But just before we do that, just going back, because you're talking about new bands, like going back to the award shows, and 30 years you've been doing them. Do you think they're as relevant today as, say, 30 years ago?
The award shows?
like award shows like Best Artist of the Year or things like that.
Well, it's kind of fun because in the past, when you win Best Artist, it's almost like shooting your career down. Like Grammys, a lot of times you don't want to win Best New Artist because it's like, okay, it's very few Best New Artists that you see continue. It's almost like a death kind of thing.
Really?
Hit the ceiling and fall off the ladder.
Best New Artist this year, broken up next year.
Yeah, exactly. It's that kind of thing. I don't know.
I don't want the award, so people get the whatever. I don't want a nomination. No thanks.
To be honest with you, I kind of wish we could outdo and go away with the awards and stuff like that. Just let artists do what they need to do. Because, the glitz and glamour with the way that things are going in the world, it kind of like, do we really need this? I get it, but do we really need it?
It's kind of outstayed its welcome.
I thought it was kind of cool.
Which one?
It was the Canadian Independent Music Video Awards.
Yeah, I dig that.
Yeah.
But these big glamorous And here's the one problem, and I'll say it very quickly too. There are too many awards. When I was younger, you had like the Grammys, the Junos, just a few. Now it's like, everybody's got a freaking award, and it's just like, I don't care anymore.
That's right.
I know, eh? You're right. You're absolutely right.
I'm gonna have an award. We're gonna have an award.
All right.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
We got the Heikadelic Award for being the Heikadelics.
There you go.
I think
there is.
I think there would be something to have, your like Blair Media Award. I mean, you interview so many people, and you got so much exposure there. I think that would be, wow. Hey, you know what? Rudy can choose anybody, but he chose us, right? So in fact, you know what, Rudy, we kind of feel that way here at the show. The last time you came, you gave us some really good feedback, and you're kind of a bar setter for us now, right? Like, so when we're talking about the show, we're talking about, how to improve, and we don't get it all the time. I mean, we had flat earthers on one night, and our socials on YouTube, we had 2,000 viewers live. We had 1,000 on Facebook, but we obviously learned, hey, let's get people with great followings and they might watch the show. But we do pretty well, because even if the show, if our numbers are down on the live show, they pick up during the week, and we average anywhere from 500 to 1,000 or more. So we're getting there slowly but surely. But we do look at like your style of interviewing, the fact that there's no there's no ego there. I've tried to tone myself back, because we were doing a radio thing for a while, and what I was told by the producer over there is, look, Ringo, like for George is a listener, and he's kind of our like historical archivist, right? So he's intently listening. He could probably detail this show out. But we put a lot into the show, but the producer was telling us, look, dead air kills you on radio. So I kind of like, I can't say that I'm an introvert in real life, but we try and fill that space. And then what we also have to watch for is talking over each other and stuff. Heiko made a comment about that, like, hey, Rudy's, just so, I wouldn't say completely structured, but you got it down, right? I
watch your interviews, and like you said earlier tonight, you said, I watched their mouth.
Yep.
And you can almost see that, because when they're talking, you're looking, you're listening, and you let them speak, right? And I said, that is so cool, the way you do your interviews. Like, there's no talking over anybody, there's no jumping, and we're learning from all this stuff. So you're like an icon to us.
You're definitely a mentor for the show, so thanks for that.
Yeah.
And like, if we had more time, or even offline, give us some feedback, if because we definitely take that and learn from it.
No, you guys are great. That's the feedback I would give because you guys, let me know, and I was like, yeah, I want to be back on the show. You guys, you can tell you love what you do, you love music, you love the industry, and that reflects on what you talk about and how you talk about. Plus the fact you don't sit in a hole. Like, you guys go with the flow. I mean, we were talking about one thing and then we talked about something else and something else. That means you're listening to what the person's saying. No, you guys got it down. I love being on the show and I'd love to be on again.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, wow, man.
Really
That's amazing.
That. Yeah. So, Rudy, is there any shout outs or anything that you want to kind of direct us to? I mean, pre-COVID, you started, kind of, I guess, split what you do in a couple of pieces. But one of the things you were mentioning last time was doing online interviewing was something that you felt you wanted to kind of keep doing. And I noticed you are doing that. It's definitely a medium or that we can, you can reach out globally, right? Yeah. So you're doing a mix of that. Do you have any red carpet stuff coming up, or?
Two things are going on right now. Of course, I'm hosting two things. One right now for the last couple of months, I've been the host for CMW Canadian Music Week Virtual Voices series.
Okay.
Where every other Tuesday, for an hour at 2 p.m. online, cmw.net, subjects about the industry. And right. I either will host it or sometimes I'm a moderator on it. And they're great subjects. So I've been really enjoying that. And as we speak, tomorrow will be my first day as host for the Lemon Stage at the El Macombo.
Yeah.
And
yes. I was just about to ask you about that.
I'm excited about that.
I saw the interview you had with her about being the host on the show, and it looked pretty exciting. So I was going to ask you, tell us more about that.
Lemon Stage is basically, it's a performance for up and coming artists. I don't even want to say up and coming because there are Juno nominees. There are artists who are filling, venues all over. Like, these guys are the crop. You just might not hear them on radio because the radio is structured. But these artists are all great, and I get to introduce them to industry people who are going to be in the audience. I'm at the El Macombo, man.
I know.
I used to line up trying to get into.
Yeah, I just love the name of it, right? The name, the El Macombo. It's like, it's still here.
Yeah, so I'm so excited about that. That's going to happen every Tuesday throughout the year. You can also go online if you can't make it to the show itself. It's going to be online also. You can see it virtually. It's, like I said, it's almost like something. The way I describe it is, it's my midnight special that I get to host.
Yeah,
and I'm so excited about that. So looking forward to that. Junos are coming up. There's still a couple other red carpets coming up too. So, but those are the two things I'm really, really excited.
Yeah, excellent.
Was it a Big Wreck who opened up the new El Macombo?
It was who?
Didn't they play the Big Wreck?
They opened up. Originally, it was supposed to be the beaches, and it closed, and then it opened up again. It's closed, opened up, closed, opened up, closed, opened up. But now it's open.
It's open, and it's good to see that. My buddy from Revive the Rose, I guess they're playing there soon, or might have just played there. But they're really kicking ass out there, and great songs, but it's good to see the El Macombo kind of mixing it up. I'm going to check that out, Rudy. Honestly,
come down.
I look at your story post. I'll share it. I share your stuff. Big fan now, and we're learning a lot from you. So hope to see you again soon. And
are we going to do the thing with George?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the backside.
Yeah. Do you have any idea, Rudy?
Okay, because my first thought when I see that, I was thinking Herb Albert, but I could be wrong.
Rudy, you know what happens on here if you get it wrong?
What happens?
You get one of these.
It's recognizable, but my first thought was Herb Albert. Who is it?
Well, any more? Have another guess. You can have more than one guess.
No, Herb is stuck in my head.
Originally, I was going to say it was like John Cougar, but it's not.
No, that's not a John Cougar album.
Well, I know on the front.
Eric Clapton.
It's a single artist and a guy with glasses and a
Eric Clapton. Yeah,
Eric Clapton. What do you think of that? No.
Really?
Well, that was my guess.
Okay, so they're an English band. Engineered by.
He's been in a couple of bands. But this is a solo album.
The solo artist who's been in bands. Wow.
Is that okay? What era?
He would have been originally the 60s, around in the 70s. This is from the 80s. This is 88.
Are they still? Are they currently touring or playing?
No,
no.
He's no longer with us. No, he's not alive anymore.
He's not alive. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. What the hell is his name again? Is it Lou Reed?
Oh,
no. He's
Damn.
British. He's British.
He's British.
One of his bands was all British, but one of his later bands was like a mix of some.
Was it like Foreigner or something?
US, not Foreigner.
Not Foreigner. Oh, so it's Canadian then. Canadian and European mix.
No, US.
Oh, it was US? Okay.
Yeah, it was US.
No longer with us.
Oh. How long ago did he pass?
He died, I think, 2000, somewhere around there, 2001. Very early 2000s.
So before the big slaying of them all in the.
So
teens.
the genre was it rock?
Yeah, it's rock.
Do any of our fans have a guess? I haven't seen the fans guess yet.
Jeff Beck. We got Jeff Beck.
Oh.
That's a good one.
No, Kathy.
You really enjoy hitting that button, don't you?
Oh, he loves it. He loves
it.
Roy Orbison. It's my backside on the line.
Roy Orbison.
Roy Orbison. All right.
The glasses in the jacket. No way.
It's not Roy Orbison, but that's kind of getting warm.
Wow.
So was it a Beatle?
Well, that's too obvious a question.
Oh, yes. Okay, it's a Beatle. So it's going to be George Harrison.
All right, you have one guess.
Yeah, it would have to be George Harrison.
One Beatle each. You have one Beatle each. Which one?
No, it would have to be George Harrison. Because you're talking 2000.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nicely
it's
done,
so obvious
George.
when you know it, right? Yeah,
Hey?
it's so obvious. It's so easy when you know.
Nicely done, George.
Oh my goodness. It's so funny because I was just reading about George just like 2 or 3 days ago. So as soon as he said 2000, yeah, that's George Harrison.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Love that, man. Can't wait to do it again.
Okay.
Right on.
All right, Hike. You going to bring us home?
Yeah. Well, Rudy, thanks for showing up, man. It was we were betting on is he gonna come? Is he not? Like
come on.
Having a star like Rudy on our show, holy crap. Yeah.
No, it's a lot of fun. I love what you guys are doing. Yeah, look, you guys got me for life. Anytime you want me on.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, and you understand kind of what we're trying to do. We're trying to help promote indie bands, trying to get things going. So if you have any ideas or anybody, send them our way. If you have any tips for us, let us know. Because we know how hard it is out in the industry to make things happen. So we're trying to be here.
It's all about the hustle, man. All about the hustle.
It is.
Hustle.
And that's the key, right? They got to hustle.
And buy merch. Everybody
There you go.
buy merch.
Atomic Ballroom back next Tuesday. Switch to Twitch. That's my thing they do on Twitch.
You got it, buddy.
And anybody else that needs an aging DJ, you know what I mean? I'm ready to go.
Well, we're trying to pimp you out, so let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Rudy. It was a pleasure having you. You're an awesome guest. And
Thanks,
I also
guys.
want to thank our people that were online. Part of our show, Melanie, first again. Melanie, you've scared the other girls away because you're always being first lately.
Yeah.
And we had Kathy, Keisha, James, Richard, and Murph from Canada. Thanks again, guys. And we want to have you back here next Monday night at 9:30 when we get dirty on the Heikadelic Show. See you then.
Thanks, Rudy.
Thanks,
care,
buddy.
Thank you.
Talk to you later, guys.
Well, that's another wrap for the Heikadelic Show, folks, so time to get dirty. And don't forget, listen in next week on Monday night and every Monday after that for the Heikadelic Show at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. If you'd like more information on the Heikadelic Show, please find us at www.theheikedelicshow.com or .ca. We'll see you all next week on the Heikadelic Show. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor for the Heikadelic Show, it's easy. Just send us an email at info@theheikedelicshow.com. Meanwhile, you can browse our website at www.theheikedelicshow.com or .ca. Click on our sponsor tab and find out more information on sponsorships. Thanks for joining the Heikadelic Show family.